The Golden State Warriors, they play at 3 o'clock today against the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. Draymond Green expected to return. They're 18-21. They're in 12th place in the Western Conference. What are we doing here, Warrior fans? You tell me. You tell me.
Trying to win games.
If I'm Mike Dunleavy, I'm making any move necessary that makes us better next year. I don't care about this year anymore.
Ooh.
They're 18-21. I think it's unrealistic they're going to have a move out there that an 18-21 team all of a sudden is going to be a team that wins 2 out of 3 games and rolls. I think it's unrealistic this team gets to the 5 seed or 6 seed.
If you don't mind, let me give you they're at Memphis today.
I'm not doing the schedule.
Wednesday they got at Utah, then Dallas at home. Yeah. Home's been the house of horrors. So maybe Draymond's back, Steiny, and things change. But what's scary about what you just said is you pretty much are like, Goo, it ain't there for this year. I'm not there, and I don't believe a lot of Dub Nation is. We all have accepted it looks bleak, and there's been a lot of WTFs like against New Orleans. That was a no-show. But, I mean, partner, all you can do is lace them up and go out there. And the thing that has me so flustered is, you're right, man. Right now, from this vantage point, it looks like there's not that super-duper McCaffrey-type move that they can make and get that infusion of whoever that is to come back. And one thing that's what's just like, come on.
One thing that Evan and I talked about a lot while you were out. Let me throw this one out there because it's a big one. And I see Rich and Fremont. We'll get to Rich in a sec. But just the concept of what's the strategy right now? What is the Golden State Warriors' strategy for the rest of this year and then after this year? Because the only thing I'm hearing, and I'm sorry, the only thing I'm hearing that everybody thinks we should do is anything and everything for Steph Curry. Okay, I'm off that train.
Wow.
Because the minute you limit yourself to only doing things to maximize Steph Curry, not necessarily the franchise, you risk setting yourself back. I just don't get I really don't. Okay, so now let's say hypothetically, and here's the other, let's say I'll give you 2 years ago, Goo, and the finals in Boston, Steph Curry was a top 3 player in the NBA. Okay. And your franchise's strategy is, let's try to keep this going. Anything and everything for Steph. Okay, fine. The next year, you go 44, you make it to the second round. But now you say, you know what? Steph's not a top 3 player anymore. He's a top 10 player. Okay, well, he's still great. Fine. What are you going to do? Anything and everything for Steph. Okay? Well, now you're 18-21. And now maybe really, if you have to look in the mirror, say, he's a top 25 or 30 player. In fact, what if the organization believes they need a player in here better than Steph Curry to win title number 5?
Dude.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
So lastly, it's how long do you bend over backwards for Steph Curry while he's declining and making it harder and harder and harder for him to be an integral part of a championship team? Like, how long are you going to continue to do almost anything and everything for him? He's under contract for another 3 more years. But in 2 years, he might only be a top 45, 50 player.
Okay.
So, when does it stop, I guess, is what I'm saying.
That's real.
888-957-9570.
Listen, Steiny, you won't even take this. That was passionate. Some will say rational. Some will say irrational. But to me, I feel like you are just in a Ferrari blowing past the life and the relationships and the meaning of what Steph Curry means to this organization. And I believe what you just posed is a decision they made maybe before 2022 or even during the 2022 season, to where you can't just stop the car. You can't just get out and bust a Yui, because if you want to do what it sounds like I'm hearing you say, then Steph Curry has to go to the back of the bus. And I don't think if you even try to do that you have a roadmap to where it's going to be faster. You're going to find that player or players to get you back to being prominent again. So to me, I'm still holding on to Steph Curry's a top 15 player. I still think it's 10.
Okay, but what if your second best player isn't in the top 100?
And that's where I start. I may have to look myself in the mirror and say, Jonathan Kuminga, you're going to be a pretty damn good player in this league. Unfortunately, it can't be during the Steph Curry end of his career. So you're the one thing we got that the arrow is pointing up. So that is more realistic to me, that they try to go replace, whenever that time comes or how they try to do it, a Kuminga, than to piss off the fan base and just go 180 on a relationship, on a dynasty that a guy, Steph Curry, who is built, who right now, okay, it don't look like Steph at the top, but Steiny, I'm not near ready to say he's done.
Who would say that? Like, right. Don't even say that. I never said that.
So that's where I'm at. That's why I'm like, that to me is, I would be leaning more to, and it fluctuates. When I see Kuminga ball out, but if you're not going to move or package Kuminga or make him a part of it, are you really going to sit here and say, buckle up Steph Curry to the man himself and Dub Nation and say, hey, this is we're going to do what we're doing for the rest of Curry's run here?
I believe
that is there's no way that will happen.
I believe it's a freaking myth anymore to think that the Warriors are more likely to win this mythical title with Clay and Draymond and Looney and Wiggins and whoever the hell else is on the team. Then to me, the idea is like, well, if you're doing if you're acknowledging that you got to rush through ideas because you're on a condensed timetable because of Steph Curry, you're going to acknowledge that Steph's so special that anything and everything is open as long as it's really, really fast. I could make a case that if you could lose some of these contracts, tank, hold on to your top pick, you might get better. You'll have a better chance to get back into it realistically than going down this road. This road is a dead end. When are you going to see it?
But the fruits of that labor wouldn't come to fruition until after
Steph.
When? After Steph is gone.
What if the Warriors tanked and they get the number one pick? You think they couldn't trade that for a guy who could help Steph immediately?
Well, I don't know. They had the number 2 pick, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah, and that was at a different time. They effed that up. Period. Like, they thought the dynasty was over. Joe Lacob thought the dynasty was over. That's why he drafted the kid.
Right, but what would you describe now?
I would describe you're in more dire straits now. Apparently, you're doubling down.
They think that though, the organization, that they're in dire straits.
It doesn't matter. They are.
This is a dead end, but they're not operating like it's a dead end.
Know?
I'm watching the game. Steph's still in the uniform. So it's
the team stinks.
Draymond comes back. They're 18-21 now, but I'll give it to you 12.
The team is a 12th place team, but they're not going to look good. If you're asking me what
they're
mile
playing
per hour,
average.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
So you telling me you came into this season saying they're in the standings about where you thought you had them? I would say you're lying.
I would say that they're having, like, after last year, it's like, yes, this is who they are. Like, but I don't know, Goo. They're 12-19 since their 6-2 start. Yeah. Okay, they're. I don't know, Goo. What do you think? Like.
They're underachieving.
No, they're
is
not.
All I'm looking for.
No, they have. This is who they've been for the last 2 years. They're not underachieving. They're a 44-win team last year. They look like they're going to be less this year. What do you want to do? Keep going down the road and see if they'll get fewer wins next year?
Well, what are my options?
Your options are to start moving off guys pronto to try to change the direction of this team.
His value's so low. I'm with that. Bye-bye.
That's not going to change the direction of the team. What's he going to This is going to be a process.
That's what I'm asking you, Steiny. If you are correct, what can you move besides Kuminga that would get you something of substance?
Nobody. What more do you want me to say? Who wants Draymond Green?
No, that was my answer.
Who wants Wiggins?
Yeah, that was my answer. That's my whole point.
Okay.
You can't do both. Hold on to Kuminga and still think you're going to get something from the basketball.
By the way, I got some more bad news. Kuminga, nobody's giving you Luka Doncic for Kuminga. That's the other thing.
But can we put him in a package to get Siakam? If we could, I wouldn't say, I'm not. His future is so.
It doesn't even make them better. They're 3 moves away from being 3 moves away to try to turn this thing around. To me at this point. And you say, Steiny, don't be so pissed. No, try to get to 7. Try to get to 7 and shock the world. That's all that's left this year. Because I ain't.
And it starts tonight.
I ain't buying anything. Do you realize this team's got to go? And I know everybody, that doesn't sound very hard. This team's got to go, 26-17 to get to 44 wins again. That's 26-17.
No, I got it.
That's about a 50-win pace. So to get to last year's record, the Warriors have to play 50-win pace basketball. That's where I say, what are we doing?